First impressions of Jeff or Jerry Jarrett?
Jerry was awesome with me, man. It seemed like he respected my work right away, like the stuff that we were doing. So, I never had anything bad to say about Jerry. I felt like he had his, the way he wanted to run the company. And I felt like he had a good mentality of the way he wanted to present the show. And, I had known Jeff a little bit in WCW and the WWA stuff. This was really the first opportunity that I got a chance to sort of hang with him in more of a, in the sense of becoming a peer rather than just someone who was walking past him in a locker room. I could tell that he had a lot of thought into the way that the shows were running. So it was hard to sort of get a read on him at that point, just because he was so busy putting everything together, and a lot of the stuff revolved around what he was doing. But I never had any issues with him at that point, and he was really cool to us.
Sure. You had a chance to work a lot with Jeff Jarrett in the TNA rings. How do you rate him as a worker?
I think he's great, man. I think that he's a great babyface, and even before I got a chance to work with him, one of the guys that helped train me, his name was Mike Moran, and he was one of the Texas Hangmen, and he worked with Jeff a lot in the Memphis areas, and he was always telling me that one of the best baby faces of all time was Jeff. Like, he knew how to read a crowd, and I was real fortunate to work with Jeff. I loved working with him. He was real easy. He was real receptive. He didn't tell me what I was going to do. He let me do what I wanted to do or what I could do, and put the match together accordingly, and was very cool with me. As far as working with him, always was very cool.
What was your reaction recently when Jeff announced that he had quit TNA?
Just surprised. I think, and again, this is my uninformed opinion, but I feel like that he was getting frustrated, and less and less of what he wanted to do or what his ideas were happening. And so I felt like he saw the time to get out where I could, and he still has things that he wants to do where he wants to be in charge. And obviously with what's going on with his, the GFW thing, he has ideas and ways that he wants to what's the word I'm looking for? Present.
Right.
He has ideas of how he wants to present professional wrestling that may not jibe with what's currently happening in TNA, and so he's at the point where he's got the opportunity to do so, and he's going to go out there and try and present a different product now that he's away from TNA.
You think he'll be able to do it?
I think if anybody's got a way to think outside the box, it's Jeff. I mean, he's very aware of what professional wrestling was and what it is today, and I think he's got good ideas, or at least he's open to think outside the box and think of ways to make what he's going to do different than what's already out there. I mean, like his mentality, like for example, his idea of bringing the 6-sided ring to TNA back when it happened, at that point everybody was like, wait a minute, what is this going to do? And then all of a sudden it made us stand out, it made us different, it gave us an identity, and that was very instrumental, I think, in TNA. And so I think that he still has a lot of good ideas and a lot of passion for the business, and definitely has something to contribute in that way. And so it'll be interesting to see when GFW finally does debut, what makes it different than TNA, what makes it, what's going to make it not TNA 2015, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Did anyone that see it coming with Jeff leaving the company?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, the last couple of months before he left, he was being more hands-on in terms of being an agent. He was sort of like the head agent for a little while. When we would do television, if there was something involving a couple of different people, he was one of the guys that was sort of helping produce those things. So yeah, no, I don't think anybody saw it coming.
Even in their early days of TNA, they seem to rely on surprises and bringing in former WWE, WCW, and ECW names. Do you think the company would have been stronger today if they spent more time focusing on building people like you, Joe, and AJ from the inside up?
Yes. I mean, the easy answer is yes, but I also think, like,
it was kind of Paul Heyman's deal in ECW when he brought the veterans in to give the younger guys rubs, or
that too. But I also think, especially in terms of Spike TV, a lot of it was Spike TV saying we need
Names.
Flash, we need names, we need this and that. So it's almost like they're trying to serve two masters. They're trying to build a company, but they're also trying to placate a television studio. And I don't know which decisions were the ones that they go, this is the best idea, and the ones where they go, we have to do this because Spike told us to.
Right.
I think that, there were plenty of times where they sacrificed a homegrown talent for the sake of not an outside name, but I mean a name that was built somewhere else, and it ended up, not necessarily biting him in the ass, but certainly not benefiting, hindsight being 20/20 and that sort of thing.
Jarrett would tell people that TNA needed time to, names like yourself to be on TV for several years before fans would take to you as stars, which is why they needed to be established, like the older names around, to give them the rub. Did you agree with that psychology or philosophy at the time? You want me to repeat that question?
Yeah, repeat that.
Jarrett would tell people that TNA needed time for names like yourself to be on TV for several years before fans would take you as a star, which is why they needed to establish older names around. Did you agree with that?
Here's the thing. I think that in TNA's instance, there's a fan base, and that fan base took to all of us as stars at a certain point. When they say, you're not a star, does that just mean like to the casual fan? And my response to that is, TNA doesn't have a casual fan. There's no casual fan base for TNA. There's the hardcore fan base, and that's who's watching the television show. To those people, we were stars. We were over. And if you say, well, they don't recognize you when you walk through the airport, okay, that's fair. But at the same time, you've got guys like Kurt Angle walking through the airport, and people walk up to him and go, why did you quit wrestling? They don't go, oh, how's TNA going?
Right.
So, I mean, that's not an indictment of Kurt Angle at all. It's not an indictment of me. It's an indictment of getting the TNA brand out there. And there's millions of times where the guys that have been in the WWE that now work for TNA have looked around and gone, this is a problem. There are things wrong with this structure that are, that have nothing to do with the talent. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, but I mean,
yeah.
Like, to me, I felt like we were on television for a period of time, and the TNA fan base took to us as stars, part of it being like the things we did in the ring, and part of it being the rivalries that we had, the matches that we had, and the surrounding characters that we brought up into it.